Here are the 5 things I think you should know when installing lowering springs on the front of your G-Body. Okay, a few weeks back I installed 1-inch lowering springs on the passenger side of Maury G Prix, my 1979 Pontiac Grand Prix, what I like to call an offbeat hot rod. And along the way I learned some lessons, and so I figured to take this opportunity to show you the 5 things you should know when installing lowering springs on the front of your G-Body. And honestly, the majority of this is based off of another video here on YouTube from Rob the Fix-It guy. So if you want to follow on how-to, I'm just going to direct you to his videos. It's great, it's extensive. But hey, if you're meeting me for the first time, I'm Grant Tommy. This is Straight Six Bang, and like I said, this is your home for offbeat hot rodding. Those sort of B to C level cars, not the A level cars. But let's get into the top 5 things you need to know. Number 1, having a second jack. I can't tell you how many times I thought I had the first floor jack in place and only to be limited by something in the upward motion. So having a second jack, save that position, readjust the first jack, get it in a better place, and move on. Number 2 is this very specific style of spring compressor that's got the forks on both ends. I rented from O'Reilly's a style just like this with forks on one end, but like a flat bar on the other. The problem was that flat bar would just always be sticking out so far that it would just be in the way when I was trying to reinstall the springs. On top of that, and again, this is from Rob the Fix-It guy's video, is you need about a 5-inch spacer to go along with this, because what happens is this threaded end will bottom out on the top of your spring bucket. Now, he used like pipe fittings or conduit fittings and stacked them together. I estimated this to be about 4 inches in length. Come to find out, it's probably longer than that. I probably would recommend like a 5-inch length. This is 1-inch square tube is what I'm using. Pretty thick ball, as you can see. But we gotta cut ourselves another one so we don't run into that spot. Bottoming this out. All right, number 3, before you get carried away with your spring compressor, know that the flat spot is what goes up into the upper coil bucket. The concentric end pigtail goes at the bottom. But also know that prioritize when you're installing it top first, because there are fingers up in the coil bucket that kind of like go on the inside like this. So that's kind of the most challenging part. And that's what you need to know. All right, number 4, even though we want to favor up first with our coil spring, get that in position first, the approximate location of the pigtail wants to end kind of in between those dots somewhere. So yes, split the difference if you're perfect, but kind of that's your factory tolerance, those 2 dots. And number 5, this is where you want to have friends for second hand, because it is quite difficult getting this coil spring up straight into those fingers, and then being able to raise the lower control arm, bring them in, and that's where I gotta push in with my foot, work jack, do all those things. It's really hard. All right, well, truth be told, that took way longer than the passenger side. I guess I got lucky on the passenger side. I had COVID and I wrapped that up, I think start to finish in 2 hours. I struggled with this side for like 5 hours, did another hour last week, and then we finally turned out, I guess we'll add in a 6th tip here. I ended up taking off the front bolt for the lower control arm so I could tilt it even more, and I finally got that spring in a position. We got it all put back together. But as long as we're giving out bonus tips, how about make sure you shout out your supporters? And first and foremost, that's the 6 fans watching this episode. But also, when UMI found out about the build, they got real excited and they wanted to know how they could help. They cut me a huge deal on the 1-inch lowering springs and Bilstein shocks for the front. So thanks to UMI, go support them as well. They actually have a video out of doing their Sage 2 kit install on a 78 Cutlass. So if you want to see another way of putting on springs in a whole lowering kit on a G-Body of the same era, go check them out. I'll probably put it at the end card here, right here. Yeah, as well as with one of my videos. But that's going to do for this episode. To all my Six fans out there, thanks for watching.